Star Wars Celebration took to Europe this past weekend, and gave fans plenty to be excited about, with new reveals regarding upcoming movies, shows, games, and more. Despite the past few years being rough in terms of Star Wars movies, we've still had plenty of stories told, and it's hard not to get excited about all of these new announcements. Getting right into it, the big panel on Friday was the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase panel. The first official trailer for Ahsoka was released, giving us our first look at characters like Hera Syndulla, Sabine Wren, Ezra Bridger, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Baylan, Shin Hati, and more. I've already gone through the trailer footage and given my thoughts, so be sure to check out that video on this channel. The series will premiere later this year in August. The first footage for The Acolyte was shown exclusively to those in attendance on the panel, and the series was also confirmed to have a 2024 release date. I was able to find some of the footage online, as well as some other details from those in attendance, so I have a video breaking that down and the other information we got from the panel. Those in attendance also got to see the first official footage for Skeleton Crew, which will have a 2023 release date. Other than Vane appearing in the footage, and Jude Law confirmed to be playing a Jedi, there isn't as much to take away from the footage, but I do have another video going through more of the footage and what we learned about the series, including the directors and some new cast members. There was a short sizzle reel for Andor Season 2 shown exclusively. It doesn't offer much about the story, but we do get to see the various characters who will be returning for the second season, and some of the new outfits they'll be sporting. Gilroy revealed that they will likely be done filming by August, with the hope of releasing the season by late summer of next year. I also have a video going through all of this in depth on the channel, so check that out if you want to know more about the next and final season of Andor. Not Star Wars related, but exciting nonetheless, we also got a new trailer for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, one that offered a better idea of what the story will include. I gave my brief thoughts over on my other channel, but overall, I'm cautiously optimistic for the movie. I was never a huge fan of the other films, but they were enjoyable enough, and the character dynamics here look like it'll make for a fun time. Those in attendance for Lucasfilm's Studio Showcase panel were also given the opportunity to see Episode 7 of The Mandalorian Season 3, ahead of its worldwide release on Wednesday. It was also revealed that Rick Famuyiwa has directed the final 2 episodes of The Mandalorian Season 3. And then what was probably the biggest news to come out of the panel, and the day as a whole, was the announcement of 3 brand new Star Wars films. Set in the Dawn of the Jedi era, 25,000 years in the past, James Mangold will direct a Star Wars film about the origins of the Jedi and the dawning of the Force set before the Old Republic, described as a biblical epic. It's said to be inspired by Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments, and Mangold describes it as a chance to tell the entire story of its own. The birth of the Force, where did it come from? How was it found? Who was the first Jedi? Next, set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, Dave Filoni will direct a Star Wars film, culminating the events of the Mandoverse. It'll tie together Ahsoka, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Skeleton Crew in one big crossover event. According to StarWars.com, the project will focus on the New Republic and the escalating war between Imperial remnants and the New Republic. Filoni's movie will close out the interconnected stories told across the Mandoverse shows. The final film announced will be set in the New Jedi Order era, set after The Rise of Skywalker. Directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and set 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. The film will see Daisy Ridley return as Rey and see her rebuild the Jedi Order. Through later interviews with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy, it was also revealed that these films will indeed have opening crawls, something that was absent from Solo and Rogue One, the 2 films separate from the Skywalker saga. She also spoke about how Rian Johnson's trilogy is not being actively developed. I've actually been looking forward to these films, because whether or not you enjoyed The Last Jedi, I feel like it's generally agreed upon that he's a talented filmmaker, and I think his trilogy could turn out to be very enjoyable if he's given his own characters and time period to work in, where he doesn't have to deal with fan expectation. Moving on to Saturday's panels, the day kicked off with the Ahsoka panel. It was confirmed that Lars Mikkelsen will be reprising his role as Thrawn in the Ahsoka series. He originally voiced the character in animation, and I give all of my thoughts on this over in another video. An exclusive version of the Ahsoka trailer was shown to those in attendance at the panel, which included clips of Purrgil, Sabine wielding Ezra Bridger's lightsaber, and the first look at Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn. The first season will be made up of 8 episodes, and the directors for the Ahsoka series include Dave Filoni, Steph Green, Peter Ramsey, Jennifer Getzinger, Gita Patel, and Rick Famuyiwa, and it was announced that Kevin Kiner would be returning to score the series. We learned that Return of the Jedi will return to select theaters in the US, UK, and other regions for a limited time starting April 28th. I'm not sure how many theaters will be showing the film, but it would be great to finally see it on the big screen. Dave Filoni announced during the 15th anniversary of the Clone Wars panel that we will be getting a second season of Tales of the Jedi, although no other information was given. The High Republic panel gave fans titles for Phase 3 of the publishing initiative, as well as the tease for what to expect from the rest of Phase 2. All of this is covered in another video of mine, so if you've been keeping up with these stories and are interested in the future, check that one out. The big news to come out of the panel, however, was the announcement that Rebecca Henderson will be playing Vernestra Rwoh in The Acolyte. The Jedi first appeared in Phase 1 of the initiative, and will now be heading to live action in 2024. To kick off Sunday, EA released the final trailer for Jedi Survivor, releasing later this month. I've already broken down the trailer and given my thoughts in a separate video, so you can check that one out if you want. The Lucasfilm Publishing panel gave us the only other news and note for the day. The Art of Jedi Survivor was announced to have been delayed until December. New books were announced, including Secrets of the Wookiees, Dawn of the Rebellion, and the High Republic Character Encyclopedia, as well as new details for other upcoming stories. I've got a whole other video breaking down the panel, so you can check that one out for more information. Monday began with the Bad Batch panel, which saw the announcement that there will be a third and final season coming in 2024. I talk about this more in detail in another video of mine, but my guess right now is an early August release date, which would line up with the gap in between the first two seasons. Those in attendance for the panel were also given exclusive viewing access to the first trailer for that new season, which I've broken down in the same video. A few highlights: Omega and Crosshair are on Tansis together. It looks like there may be a time jump. Captain Rex, Fennec Shand, Emperor Palpatine, and a Sarlacc pit all make appearances in the trailer, and the season looks to have a much darker tone to it. The Marvel Comics panel was full of many updates and reveals, but the main one was in the announcement of Star Wars Dark Droids, a horror-fueled epic launching in August. Written by Charles Soule, Dark Droids will then spin off into one-shots and cross over into Marvel's ongoing series. In Dark Droids, a mysterious new threat called the Scourge corrupts droids, cyborgs, and everything in between, spreading chaos throughout the galaxy. Ajax Sigma, who first appeared in last year's Star Wars Revelations #1, will play a role in the saga. The Star Wars Visions panel was full of information, including a brand new trailer for fans to enjoy ahead of the second volume's release on May 4th. A poster was also released, and fans were able to learn a little more about each short and studio it was made by. I've got another video going through this all, but I will go through some of it here as well. Screecher's Reach from Cartoon Saloon was described as an Irish ghost story with a twist. In the Stars from Punk Robot is a story of two sisters who lost everything, inspired by real-world Chilean history and issues. It was made with handmade models and then 3D scanned to create the computer models. The Artemis short is centered around a family race day hosted by Wedge Antilles, voiced by Dennis Lawson, and director Magdalena Osinska described it as a love letter to mothers. The Studio Mir short titled Journey to the Dark Head is a story of a Jedi and a Sith war, and will tell a version of the first prehistoric war between the Jedi and the Sith. The Spy Dancer from Studio La Cachette is based on the French Resistance and real dancers that gathered information from enemy officers and cabarets. The Bandits of Golak features an Indian Inquisitor and Purge troopers. And from Triggerfish, Aw's Song is the story of a girl that connects with the Force through song. And lastly, to wrap up the very eventful weekend, it was announced that Star Wars Celebration will be returning in 2025, set in Japan from April 18th to 20th. Sadly, I won't be able to attend this one either, more than likely at least. I was hoping it would return to the United States so that it would at least be a possibility for me, but it's been a while since the celebration has been to that part of the world. If it ever even has, I'm not quite sure, so it's good for those fans to have the opportunity. This one will be a big one, with Star Wars returning to the theater later in 2025, so I can't imagine how energetic this celebration will be. Now I can at least start planning and saving up for 2027, when it more than likely returns to the States, because I doubt that they'd have the convention abroad 3 consecutive times. So that wraps up my coverage of Star Wars Celebration this year. I'll probably have a few more videos coming out in the next few weeks related to what we learned. I know there's a few things with the Ahsoka trailer that I want to talk about, but I'm going to go through and actually watch these live streams, so if there's anything that catches my eye there, I might cover that as well. But in terms of big news coverage and such, I finally get to relax a little. It's been a very busy week, but I really did enjoy covering this all, and I hope my efforts were sufficient for all of you. This really couldn't have come at a better time for me. This past week has reinvigorated my love for these stories and characters, and just my enjoyment when it comes to making these videos. I hope everyone else had as much fun this past week as I had. If you were able to attend the celebration, I hope you had a blast. Going to it in 2019 really is a special memory of mine when it comes to this fandom. I hope you all enjoyed my coverage of it, and if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing and sharing these videos. It really helps me make a push towards monetization. And drop a comment below what your favorite moment or announcement was. I always love reading through the comments and seeing that there are actually people who watch these through. Remember to like the video, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and check out all of my other videos covering Star Wars Celebration from the past weekend. As always, thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.